Yeah, that's right. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Barry.
Doing all right?
Yeah. Well, what did Luke Altmyer show you throughout training camp to solidify his spot as starter?
Well, I think he was really consistent from dating back to spring. He's got a very a real strong desire and passion to learn the game. Like, he's really into the football part of things. Like, he's a football junkie, and that shows up all the time. Always thinking, always asking, watching film in the office, in the building constantly, which is what you want in the quarterback. And all of our guys have a good way of studying and going about learning, but he really loves the game, and he performed very well in the practices that we've had him through spring and fall camp. So I think he earned the job.
Coach, Toledo's been doing what they do defensively for a number of years now. Is it unique to what you'll face this year, and what are some challenges for your offense?
Yeah, sure. I think there is some unique qualities to it. Of course, you don't know what we don't know what they've studied and what they've manipulated over the summer. Just like they don't know what we've studied and manipulated over the summer either. But I think from a systematically speaking of what they have been and what's been so successful for them, it is a little bit of a unique prep in the way they kind of play their back end, and so they're very good at it. I mean, they're, as you would expect from a conference champion team, they know how to play their defense. They have a lot of the answers built into their defense, and have a lot of respect for the way they're coaching and playing on that side of the ball.
What kind of buy-in is required for your running backs to understand it's going to be kind of a split operation back there instead of having one back? Or what do they need to understand that?
Oh, I think they understand it very well. I think all of our backs understand things. Thad's done a fantastic job of mentoring them as players and as young men off the field as well. And I think that room's in a really good spot. I think in particular, the top two guys, with Reggie and Josh, I think that they understand that it's going to be a series rotation, a quarter rotation, whatever that rotation looks like. It's going to take both of them. It's going to take a village at that position, including the other two guys that we anticipate being involved in the game plan. So I think I really like where they're at as far as just mentally, and I really like where they're at physically. I'm excited to watch those guys share the load and the run and the pass game for us going into Saturday.
Reggie Love has gained some experience, and this kind of big opportunity for him. What have you seen from him throughout this offseason? What's he bring to the offense?
Super consistent, a great attitude. I think he elevates the people around him with his attitude. He's just got a way about him, and so when he loves football. And the thing about Reggie, and we said this last year a lot, is that no matter when his opportunity came, even though it was limited on a limited scale last year, partly due to health, partly because of the workload that we put on our back last year, is when he had the opportunities, he really injected a lot of positive things in our offense, running the ball. I mean, he had some really critical runs last year and in critical moments when he was relieving Chase. And so I'm excited about him because he's proven very trustworthy, very steadfast, and I think his mentality and his demeanor has helped Josh's game as well. So I think that tandem there is in a healthy place.
How's that receiver room beyond those three returners kind of evolved since we last spoke with you, I think, after the scrimmage?
Yeah, I think just every day. I mean, literally, you got a lot of young players there, right? Malik and Ashton and Sean and even Alex, Hank. I mean, you got when you look at you got the three guys that have played a lot of football, right? And then beyond that, you've got a lot of youth that's got talent and that are getting better every day, and that is developing rapport with our quarterbacks. And so again, at that position, it's going to take a village. We're going to need more than 3 or 4 guys playing around there. And I think we're at a point where a lot of those young guys have elevated themselves into being not just developmental young guys, into guys that we anticipate being in the game on Saturday and fully trusting them when they are in the game.
It does seem like there's an opportunity for some long plays, some explosive plays. Is that something that just happens, or is it something that you game plan for, just kind of looking to take a big shot?
Both. I mean, I think explosive plays happen through both. I mean, great football plays usually are a result of great fundamentals. If the scheme is sound and the fundamentals that you teach and apply are sound, and you have good players like we do, then that sometimes naturally creates an explosive play. Now, this defense is very stingy about giving them up. They're very methodical in the way they go about their defensive scheme. So then part of it is the scheme related. Is there an opportunity to create an explosive play via the scheme? And we're hoping to be able to create both Saturday night. both through execution and potentially through scheme.
What do you need from Luke Altmyer as he makes his first start for you guys? And
Yeah.
what's your message to him?
Yeah, first start for us, and
Yeah.
I think really only maybe the second start, right, and third or fourth game that he's played in. So, it's that sometimes I have to step back and look through that lens and remind myself that even though he presents himself as a very experienced, mature player, he's experienced in every facet of the sense except actual playing. And I think there's validity to that, and there's good in that. And so I think the biggest thing for him is in any of our quarterback. I mean, Tommy went through this last year's first game here. Is, man, there's going to be nerves, there's going to be excitement. Those are good things. Those are good feelings, and you just gotta harness those and channel those into playing within the scheme, right? We got enough people. We got an O-line, tight ends, running backs. We got people around you that are here to support you and to do their jobs. And me as a play caller to help support him. He doesn't have to go out and play outside of the scheme of the offense. And so I think if he goes in and trusts what we're asking him to do, I think he'll settle in nicely.
The right side of your offensive line just kind of worked through several different guys there, and probably with Zai, unavailable a little bit. Has that side kind of solidified as you head into the opener?
We're getting closer, and obviously, that some of that's day to day. When we talk about maybe the final picture there, and but I think one of the good things that comes out of camps when when you have guys that they're banged up, miss a day, which is the way of life, especially up front in college football camp, or maybe we're trying to arrest a guy that's proven his value and knows how to play winning football. Maybe we're arresting a guy, so now all of a sudden you're changing that order up. You're mixing and matching who the left guard is, who the right guard is, and those provide great opportunities for you to work on your chemistry. And so I think that's been one of the benefits of the way we've rotated some in the fall is I think we got them comfortable with no matter who's at next to Kreutz, at right guard or left guard or right tackle. And I think those guys have been really consistent. And so obviously we'd like to be able to get solidified to where it is a constant group of playing together, because the more they play together, the better off we'll be. But early on there in the season, I think we probably anticipate 6 or 7 offensive linemen playing in the game, similar to what we did early in the part last year. But so a little bit of a work in progress in that regard, but I do like where we're at on the right side and the left.
Something I think Julian and Isaiah both said is like last year you had your 6 pretty much that play, but they feel like there's maybe more guys this year that can go in if needed.
Sure.
Do you kind of have that
Yeah, I
sense?
think so. I think that's something that we're always pressing and working towards. And I think that there's been some guys that emerged from camp that have taken a step forward that you could certainly feel very comfortable with being in the full scale of a game plan.
Have you been more comfortable heading into year 2 as opposed to year 1? And have you sensed the guys are more comfortable with you and getting more out of them and what you want?
Yeah, for sure. Way more comfortable, and not in a way that I'm, too comfortable. I mean, you got to grow, but as far as being in this chair, in this seat, year 2, working under Coach B now for going on my 7th year, and working with a lot of the coaches that came back, a lot of the play. I mean, yeah, you see a lot of the residual effects of that when we go to practice, and maybe we put in a special situation, that last year would have been brand new, and now this year it's just, oh yeah, that's what we call that at the end of the game, and we're able to execute it. That's like a microcosm a little bit of kind of the big picture things of the comfort level. Like I think just the terminology, the situational anticipation, what the players expect from me and meetings and practice, like all that has grown in year 2 as it should have. And so I'm excited to take that, the off the field stuff, the off season stuff, and now let's let that come to life when we start our season here that we're looking forward to doing on Saturday.
I know you said there's been an emphasis, especially early on red zone offense. How do you feel like you guys have evolved from last year going into this opener?
Well, I mean, I feel at this point we've done very well in that regard. I mean, I think we've established maybe a little clearer identity about what we're trying to accomplish down there. I mean, obviously we know we're trying to score. I mean, I don't need anybody second guessing whether I understand that that's our goal down there. But I'm talking about from a structural standpoint, like what are we trying to accomplish? How are we trying to do it to maximize our volume of reps on those things schematically? I feel very comfortable with where we're at. Now we got to go execute. I got to put our guys in the right situation and the right time. Timing is a lot of it to do with calling it. And then we have to be able to execute there at a high level. And that's going to be a premium, not just Saturday, but all year long. We've got to get better in that area. It's been a big point of emphasis for us. And I'm excited to see the works that we've done in the spring and the summer and the fall hopefully come to life when we play Saturday.
What's Isaiah Williams give your offense, just in terms of his versatility and big play capability?
Yeah, he's a great tool to work with. You know, I mean, he can do so many different things. You know, he can run the ball, he can catch the ball, he can throw the ball. You know, I mean, he's and he knows the offense extremely well. He can play X, Z, F, Y, tailback, quarter. I mean, that's a fun guy to have. And obviously, you throw in that he's semi-talented, that works out pretty well as well. You know, so obviously incredibly talented, incredibly gifted. And hopefully he's going to have a great impact on our offense, a greater impact than what he had last year.
What you want to do tempo-wise, Barry, I don't know if we'll get a clear picture until maybe the end of the month, but with the new rule change on clock doesn't stop for first downs, I know you've been able to work it, but do you have any thoughts on how that changes what you want to do from a tempo standpoint, or how you want to call a game?
I don't really think that's going to affect me as a play caller.
Okay.
To a large degree. I'm kind of, you know, this has kind of been a little bit of the narrative. I've been reading some articles just like from a national landscape about this, about what other coaches are saying about it, and there's a mixed bag there, and I would kind of fall in the middle of that. You know, it's certainly going to have an impact, but it shouldn't directly affect strategically how I'm calling it, when I'm calling it. Probably at the end of the day, you're going to get a few less plays, you know, and so which would put maybe a little bit more of a premium if you're trying to create fatigue, if you're trying to create an advantage by playing tempo, that you might have to be more intentional about using those earlier in the game because maybe just the volume of reps are going to be minimized. I think that's pretty hard to argue against that it won't. So I'm anxious to see the turnout of that as well. But going into the first game, that's not a big thought at the front of my mind about how that's going to manipulate or impact the way I'm calling it.
Just one more about the running backs.
Yeah.
If I could just be comfortable with the two guys behind you, who's kind of stepped into that next level?
Yeah, I would say that like Aiden and Caden, you know, are the guys that right now that we would say going into this first game certainly could have an impact in the game plan. So those guys have both continued to gotten better and better. Really excited kind of where they're. I mean, it's such coach speak, but really truly like we are very excited about where those two guys are heading and how they're coming along.
What's the vibe of week one for you guys?
Well, I mean, it's excitement, right? I mean, like we practiced last night under the lights, and you know, it's a night game, so like I think everybody's blood was pumping. Like, oh, it's here, you know. Like you work, it's a unique sport, it's a unique business in that regard that you know we put a lot of time and effort, like everybody else does across the country, like the high school teams do across the country, the junior high teams, you know, they work year round. Summer, springs, falls, and you get 12. In high school, you get 10, you know, and so you get 10 opportunities. And so that's an exciting time of the year when the fruits of the labor are going to, or at least on the forefront on the horizon, to where now you get an opportunity to go do what you do all that work for.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks, Coach.